sit on where, I mean, come on, it's to win 3 times that amount of money over a short period of time. That is really bizarre.
That is bizarre. It's a wonder they didn't cut him off like the casinos. You won too much. You can't play no more. But that guy the odds of him winning 1 is steep, much less 3. I couldn't even compute them odds.
Well, I don't know. But don't forget the taxes that come out of it. But still.
Yeah, listen, I would gladly pay the taxes on $200,000.
Now, in this case, it was $266,000 and $100,000. So you're talking around 400 and some thousand and some odd change. That's a little bit of money there.
Yes, he pretty much close. Yeah, I mean, close to $500,000 he won on probably $3 to $5 worth of tickets, and so yeah, he's doing good. He had a good year so far.
Oh yeah. Say. Oh, the biggest I ever won on a scratch ticket was like $100. One time I was at a 7-Eleven store. This is years ago, and I was going to buy $10 $1 scratch tickets, and my wife was with me, and she goes, "No, you can't buy 10." I said, "I want to buy 10." She goes, "No." And I said, "How many can you buy?" She says, 9. And I said, "Please let me buy 10." She goes, "No." And, when my wife says no, that means no. So I didn't buy the 10 tickets, right? I turn around, the next person, some lady, buys a scratch ticket. Right there at the 7-Eleven, she scratched, "I just won $1,000. And I said to my wife, "See, it's all your fault. I could have took you out to dinner tonight. We could have been $1,000 richer. But no, you're so cheap, over $1, that we lost."
Oh boy, I'm sure you didn't let her forget that one for a while. That reminds me, back in the early '80s, we'd go out down in Florida there, and we'd go out in the Bermuda Triangle fishing. And this
you were
big
brave.
50-foot. Yeah, believe me, that was the time. That was the time where I thought I was going to die, actually. But picture that scene in Forrest Gump.
Maybe you did, James. And you're just, this all could be a figment of my imagination. You're not here. You died in the triangle.
I could be Matrix, and you're right. But it was like a scene with that Lieutenant Dan Forrest Gump. The waves come up 12 footers in the storm, and we was a biggest fish got money. I ended up winning $100 and 3 free pizzas and a free pass. But people were sick because these 12-foot waves. You're up and then you slam down. It was 3 hours of that. That storm come out of nowhere. It was so bad we had to use fishing line to tie to our belt loop to our hat so we didn't lose our hat, and had to tie down on the ship that didn't get blowed over. That was the wildest ride in the Bermuda Triangle I've ever been on.
Maybe you're in a parallel universe.
I'll tell you what, it come out of nowhere, and of course back in the early 80s they didn't have the technology we had today to spot this stuff, but I don't even think we would have had time because, this South Florida, we was way out there in the ocean, couldn't see land or nothing, but boy, what a ride that was for 3 hours.
How big a boat was it?
60-footer.
That's small.
I thought it was big, but
I've owned some boats, and I tell you, the last one I owned was like 100, it was 98 feet actually. A double ender, but that was the biggest I owned, and I would take that out to the ocean. We would go, and yeah, but anything under that, you couldn't get me out in the ocean.
Well, let me put it like this: I thought it was a big boat, but then when that storm come up out of nowhere, and then 12 footers was for 3 hours long, believe me, that boat was not big enough. I was ready. I thought for sure we was gonna. I didn't know we was gonna make it back. To be honest with you.
Well, you're lucky because, a 60-footer and you get waves that big. That thing was rocking and rolling, and, hopefully you could get into the cabin or something and not try to sit out there on the back.
No, yeah, they had a little place you could get into, but what people don't, if you don't realize you've ever been on those, what happens is when you're on top of the wave, you're 12 foot in the air, and then it just drops out, and that boat drops. And then when it drops, you've got 12 foot of water all the way around you. It's the weirdest thing. You've got a 12-foot wall of water clear around you. It's so weird. It messes with your mind. And then you're up again, and then it slams again, and you keep doing this over and over. Most people were sick. I wasn't sick. I was just worried about dying.
Well, you start at one point when the water, because I've been in that situation, not maybe 12 foot or 15 foot, but I've been in a situation where, the water, the wall of the water was over the boat, and you're looking like, hey, I wonder if I just sunk.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what was going on on every wave. It was 12 foot all around you. It's the weirdest thing. It messes with your mind because it's 12 foot, and you're at the bottom of it, and you're thinking, how are we not sinking? And then next thing you know, you're on the top of it, and then when it drops, that boat just drops 10, 12 feet, slam. I mean, to tell you, it beat the heck out of us. And all it would take was one rogue wave. We'd been done.
Well, yeah. Well, does take out even big ships, a rogue wave. And, in the Triangle, too, they come up with some ideas about how some of these ships, big ships, actually disappeared and sunk. Some of it would be like a methane bubble, a huge methane bubble, from the ocean bottom, lets loose and comes up. And if you're a ship above it, that would take you down. As that bubble comes up and bursts, and then you'd drop right down.
You would. I've seen the experiment in the water tanks, and a bunch of bubbles will sink a huge ship real fast. And you know what else? It will also, and I've seen the experiments done with this, it will also bring planes down if it's right above it, because it takes the oxygen out of the air, so the engines will stall or they could catch fire.
Yeah. Something happened to those 12, planes there back in the 40s when, the
Flight
Triangle.
19. Yeah, Flight 19. Yeah. Yep.
So,
there was... Yeah, something happened to them. Matter of fact, now that you mentioned, I think there was 5 planes, 14 crewmen. And you know what else that was weird about that, Gary? There was a rescue plane that went out looking for them, and it disappeared.
Yeah. No, I don't know. See, now with the electronics we have now, there hasn't been any planes disappearing over the Triangle, and there hasn't been much shipping lost like it was. I think it's because everything is computerized and they have all the radar equipment. I don't know what it is, but maybe the Triangle, maybe because of the Earth's magnetic field changing, maybe it has affected the Triangle too. You ever think of that?
Yeah, I think you just hit on a good point. I think that is exactly what's going on. Plus, too, we got a lot more technology. We can spot these storms a lot faster than couldn't ever even spot them before. But I think you touched on a good point. With the magnetic field changing, I think that would affect it.
Yeah, it could be. But, I still see these stories on Facebook and other media. Well, this old ship from 1903 was spotted in the Triangle. Don't you see those old ship stories, fables of these ships that reappear and then disappear again?
Oh, yeah, like the Mary Celeste, I think, or the Flying Dutchman. Yeah. Those have been lores and legends of those kind of events for a long time.
Yeah. I don't know. Who knows? Yeah, I just think the ships went down and then these, fables started on about, what happened.
Yeah, well, the thing is, especially right off Bermuda, it's real shallow, but then you go out just a little bit and it drops off like 10,000 feet. And then you got them currents, and I think it really messes with the water. And even the water up there where you're at, I think there's a patch there going up into Alaska that's deadly waters too. And I think there's one around Japan, same thing. Indian Ocean, I think's got one. It's just, I think there's a lot of variables that happen, and it's just at any moment you can have rough water, and these ships can go down.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's interesting here off of Washington, Oregon, California coast. They're finding a whole bunch of holes that are giving out bubbles on the ocean floor.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're opening up and they're, gurgling bubbles and stuff like that. And they're kind of like, where are these bubbles and where are these holes all of a sudden appearing? And it's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these holes. now there is an active volcano out there too, so maybe it's something is getting ready to do something.
Oh, it could be, because they're in the Pacific Ocean off the coast of you, all the way from Hawaii on up to Alaska. I think they call the Ring of Fire underneath the ocean there.
Oh yeah, it starts in Mount Rainier and just keeps on going.
Yeah, you've got a lot of mountains there. Mount Rainier, Mount Hope, Mount Adams are all volcanoes, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, and then like Mount St Helens, everybody thought that would never go off, and then it started getting a little bit active, and then it went off, and it did take out a few people and destroyed the whole area. Now it is recovering, but then I guess that it is starting to be a little bit active again.
Yeah, listen, it blew the whole side of that mountain off. And, I just reported, I think yesterday, there's a volcano that's been spewing a little bit of stuff in Alaska.
Yeah, it's strange. And, that one on that island back here last month, that took out, and everybody that was on that island, they all died.
Oh, yeah, New Zealand.
New Zealand.
New Zealand. Yep.
Now, I don't know if they died from the explosions or from the gas that, forms when one of those volcanoes go off, but that's a deadly gas too.
Well, that's the thing, because that happened in middle of Africa somewhere a few years ago. The next day there was animals dead everywhere within like a 15-mile radius. The whole village was dead. It was the deadly gas that came out that killed them. But that one in New Zealand, it was like people like Hawaii. People go there and visit and walk around in the crater. Well, it's a time bomb. You never know when that goes off. And then people were there seconds before that thing went off. There was no warning like, hey, this is going to go off in a few minutes. Don't be here. It's like, bam, you're done.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's one thing I found. I was watching this thing on one of the TV cable channels where they, people buy houses and fix them up and people bid on houses and all this stuff. Right now, the big fad is in Hawaii is to buy property on the lava fields because it's dirt cheap. People go there and they build a house. And all it is, the lava fields there where, the lava has run, it's rocks, but it's really close to the volcano. But it's the cheapest place you can buy property in Hawaii. I would know, and some of these houses are within a quarter mile of active streams of lava. Would you even consider, buying property and building a house next to that's like next to a war zone that, D-Day could happen anytime.
Yeah, there's no defense against that lava. You remember a couple of years ago, it was coming out so fast. Remember the reporter, and behind him, it looked like it was going 50 miles an hour going behind him. It didn't look real. It was going so fast. And nothing can stop that heat. It just burned through everything. And no, I wouldn't want to live, no way would I want to live on a lava field. Another dangerous thing, too, we haven't touched on is the lava tubes. The old lava tubes that dry up, they're like hollow caves now, and sometimes them give away. Matter of fact, last year I reported on one of the news bits here, an old man fell through, it just gave way, and he died.
Oh, yeah. I mean, because they're basically lava tubes. They're caves that from the lava that, could be hundreds of years old or thousands of years old, but they give away, under weight or maybe, anything. So you always risk that. Well, anyway, we need to go on break, and then after the break, we got the news, and then we're going to be talking about black-eyed children. Are they real? Are they a fable? We'll find out with Kelly Eyer when we come back. So stay tuned. You're listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio After Dark.
You thirst for some significance of the both dimensional kind. You enter a realm of spirit, of sight and sound and mind. Your radio is a cosmic doorway and your psyche begins to spark. When you tune in to Gary Anderson and Night